Okay, 1 o'clock. Open the capital planning meeting for January 15th. Present. You can start.
Charlie Kleber.
Sam Corbett.
Sandy Slavin.
Carrie Pastor.
New member, thank you.
Derek Solomon,
What do you do?
Town Administrator.
Alan Slavin, pain in the ass. Okay, first thing we're gonna do is accept the minutes of 12/11/24.
So moved.
Anybody have any questions, changes, or anything?
They can't be any simpler.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Gonna abstain, but
Yeah.
out of necessity.
Okay,
The vote,
Disapprove.
please. The vote.
abstain. So the vote will be 6-0. 0.
Are you a member?
No, I can't vote.
Yeah,
Oh, I thought you remembered.
no, no, you're
We haven't
interviewing them
We're
today.
interviewing you today. We have not made the recommendation.
Right.
No.
Never mind. I'm sorry, 5-0.
Nobody tells you anything.
We're even,
I-
we're even.
I was really nervous because I was trying to figure out,
1%.
when he said new member, I was like, what, did I miss, how many meetings did I miss?
So the vote is, Derek, did you
5-0-0.
abstain?
I did not, I voted out of necessity.
5-0-0?
Okay.
501. Oh, no, he's not.
No, he's not a member, can't do anything. All right, next up is for Mr. Sullivan, the department heads. I checked this out. This committee, at least over the last few years, when I'm not here, used to actually interview the different departments, what they needed in February, March.
Was it February and March?
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
remember that.
I went back and checked through. The other thing is, I'll talk about, when we talk about the website, there's a lot of problems that I have to fix, a lot. Okay,
Pretty much every committee.
yeah, but I'll explain it. There's a leading back and forth that creates problems. Okay, next is review the capital planning worksheets.
Wait a minute, I didn't hear his decision on department heads.
Yeah, because I honestly think, because I've had them, it was always in August and September that we did it.
Well, they have to submit to you because you're a budget thing, but they used to come
Yeah.
before this group when I was here in February, March.
Was it
Yes.
August and September?
Because you had to get the items on that.
Right, but we wouldn't usually we don't fund through the budget, capital items.
But it gives this committee a
But
chance
the
to.
charter and the
They
bylaws says
used,
we have to.
they used to break into subcommittees, and
Yeah.
one, if you were in charge of the highway department, you'd go out and actually look at.
Right, that's different. We
If you
didn't
were in
bring,
the school department,
Yeah.
you'd go look at their request,
And then
I
bring
mean,
back,
it's,
come back.
and then
give
you
us-
come back to the committee and make
And
recommendations.
they'd give us their paperwork.
I always remember that from August and September we bring them in because October town meeting's the first time we really had the bite of the apple.
Yeah, but we used to actually do capital planning way back.
For
in the-
planning in the
Spring.
future. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's the purpose.
well, we'll just see what we
Plan
get down there
ahead.
so we know where we're at. Because actually, capital planning is changing on a constant basis lately.
We had the police, school, municipal maintenance and sewer at our February 24 meeting.
Yeah, so those
Yeah.
are the only ones that probably were gonna have any capital items at that town meeting.
Right, whatever.
But that was February.
We'll leave that up to you.
So do we invite those four?
I don't know if they have anything for this town meeting.
Yeah, but
If any department had submitted any of the forms
They did last time when they,
for this year,
Yeah.
we were talking about, they did it for 24 beforehand.
Yeah.
We're talking about 25 now.
yeah. But I
So
mean,
25.
you have the worksheets online, on.
Yeah, they have it on
the
the
shared.
shared data now.
So have the department heads been told, hey, if you have any requests, go ahead and fill out your forms?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
that's-
just so that they get them into us, the sooner we
They
get
get
them,
the ones- You
the
guys
more-
got
the
it for
sooner
the
we can
October
review
town
them.
meeting.
Yeah, the problem is that if you go and look at the website and stuff, it still has you having to submit your budget in November.
Yeah.
Which is, and it's never been cleaned up when we made the changes years ago about timeframes and everything. And I'll go through that in a little bit.
so what do you want to do with about department heads?
We'll try
Nothing.
We'll try and do the 4 if Mr. Sullivan can make it work.
And remind them if they
Invite
have
4?
projects to
Invite
fill out the
4,
forms.
or invite anybody that has something that has to be updated as well.
Right.
Police,
Because we've done that with the school.
Sewer.
Have them
Yeah.
review their section of the plan.
school,
Yeah, because the way we look at it is that the charter's incorrect on capital planning, the way capital planning is nowadays.
Yes.
The charter used to be capital planning, you did this, and the charter basically said, if you were on the Titanic and you were steering towards the iceberg,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
could not steer away from it.
Well, it says basically on November 15th, you have to present your budget.
Yeah.
to
Pray
the
it
capital
melts.
committee.
Yeah.
You know, and we have to have the capital plan available. That's part of what I ran into again, that's making a mess of everything.
Yeah, that was the fun
Okay.
thing, 'cause those years, if you remember, we brought everybody in,
I know.
especially when we had no
I remember
cash
from the
whatsoever.
beginning. Charlie understood.
Sorry.
I remember only too well.
Those
Are
were
we
fun- those were
inviting
fun
them?
meetings, Charlie.
Sorry,
Huh?
Those were fun meetings.
you
Oh,
went
that-
off the tangent. Did you invite them to the February meeting or not?
Who?
Anybody? Derek, will you be inviting them to the February meeting?
I don't think so, because I don't know if anybody has anything for it.
Can you send the request out?
Yeah, just
I
tell
sent the
them,
request out for it, just
just
don't know
start
if
thinking
they're
about their
done.
capital needs, and
Just
if
get back
they
to
have
us.
some to fill out the
Just get
forms.
back to us and let us
Well,
know.
it's hard to believe that
Send-
municipal maintenance would need something.
Well, they've already
Or the police
updated us
department.
with their November stuff. The last time they came before us with an updated one.
Yeah, but again,
That's what we did, so we've been updating them in the September timeframe.
because what we're looking for really is fiscal year 26, the spring town meeting.
Yeah.
So all I'm saying is
Yeah,
that
have
it'd
them
be a good
review
idea.
their plan and see what,
You gotta find somebody with something, just whatever, it is. It's not a big deal. If they
Are
have
you
nothing,
trying to prove the worth of the committee or something?
no, I'm just trying to make it easier long term.
We had those individuals here for the September meeting also.
Yes, that's the problem. We got
That's what I'm
twice.
saying, we,
Only
Police,
because normally we do
municipal
not do
maintenance,
capital
school
items
department,
to vote on usually until we have, free cash or
Right.
a fall town meeting.
Right.
Because we changed. Years ago, they used to do capital at the spring town meeting.
Mhm.
But it's all
Yeah.
changed, plus I think certain departments have their own capital line item as well.
like
Which is
police
separate.
has the
Right.
capital for that, but that's just for the cruisers and the cruiser lease,
Yeah.
that's the
Right.
pro forma.
that's kind
But
of.
we don't do much capital out of the budget anymore.
No,
So it's usually, it's all, the philosophy's changed, it's all for free cash on the setup, so,
Right.
you know.
and free cash, unfortunately, we usually don't get
Yeah.
a number till December.
But I don't mind either, cause I just think we should constantly update as priorities change, you know, that's.
And they do change.
Yeah, and Dave did a pretty comprehensive change, and we started putting like Hammond on there. We're gonna ask CBC for an evaluation of the external, stuff for Hammond.
All right. So September was the last time we had all four here,
Yeah,
but except for Sewer. Sewer, they were invited in November and they were a no-show, and Jimmy was supposed to give us a response by January 1 as to what Sewer wanted. We never heard back from
Still
Gibberti.
have-
Right.
still
So
have-
Sewer to me is still outstanding.
yeah,
He missed the September meeting,
So-
he was at missed the November meeting, so we
We-
really should have
I don't
Sewer.
mind bringing them in, because we still want the updates too.
Yeah, we need sewer simply because they have a lot of stuff on their plate, and we don't know where they're at.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's a big
So
number,
Could
big number.
you
of
invite
items.
Scott to the next meeting?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, just put it out to any of the departments that something may have come up and let us know.
And we have to be careful, because if Jimmy comes, we will have a quorum
Yes.
of Sewer.
You have to have three, right?
We'll have a quorum.
If Jimmy comes,
Yeah.
that's two.
No, Carrie.
He's not a member yet.
Yes, he is on Sewer, but he's not a member for us yet. But he will be.
So,
All right, he got one on me.
you understand?
Okay, 1-1,
I can't keep
keeping
score
score
here.
here.
Me neither.
It's like a tennis match.
You know what's weird
It's
is
like
he's
a
been backing
pickleball.
away from the table and out the door ever since
You're
he started.
kind of in no man's land.
It's like pickleball.
It's like Judy between Jim and me yesterday in Affordable
Yeah,
Housing
yeah,
Trust.
That was not nice either. Okay, status or any open projects? You have anything on your end?
We need to talk about what was approved at last town meeting. We don't have it, I don't believe we have it in our 5-year plan.
Which one?
Next door.
Oh, you mean the purchase of that property?
Property.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's, I mean, we can add it to, I mean, that was something that we didn't think was ever gonna happen.
I know,
so.
but,
No, it came last minute. You
Mm.
can't control someone.
sorry. Cookie.
The
I think,
good news is the, roughly, on the first part of the sewer, I think Sandy, you got that too, and you guys as the sewer commissioners, that they're about, we had about a 14% principal reduction from SRF funding.
Okay, never heard of that.
They didn't bring it up at the last one, I thought Sarah sent something out to you guys.
Didn't come to me, I didn't see it.
I moved the select board before the holidays. I would've
If it
thought
went to our chair, we didn't get it.
Well, I thought maybe somebody would let you know, but he's not on the select board anymore, you know?
How would I know?
Yeah, you got 14% principal reduction on that, over 2 million. It's pretty good.
Sure is.
Um,
You can all go on vacation now.
I got a call from the, I think there was some confusion on the ARPA funding. I got a call when the sewer department's going to receive that funding. We already expended the funds
Yes, we
on
did.
behalf of the sewer department, so.
Just
That
rotates
wasn't,
back over.
right, it wasn't excess funds, it was us getting reimbursed for what we've
Yeah.
already.
It was
paid
being
out.
acknowledged that we used the funds.
Right,
Yeah,
correct.
we knew that one.
So, it seemed like there was some confusion that that was extra funding to.
Oh,
Okay, so my question is, do we have any projects that have been agreed to do that are still open, not finished?
well, that's a tough one, that's why we need our department
Yeah.
heads or
Yeah.
Jared to go through everything that we've funded to say whether or not it's closed. And that's a long list.
Yeah.
You want to send Darius, please, a copy of what we show open?
Suzie, could you give me the info?
I don't know. Can I use EV on weekends?
No.
No, I noticed.
You can use it,
So, do you
Yes.
wanna update the 5-year plan for the 600,000 for land purchase?
It has to be.
You have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Needs to be
one of
on
the
it.
select board members did make a commitment of what they thought the land was gonna be used for at town meeting, yes.
No, he made a recommendation.
Well, he basically committed to what was happening.
Well, he
The
said,
good news is the select board as an individual does not have the authority to bind the town to
We
anything.
know that.
And 1 out of 5 does not make it a decision.
No, it doesn't, but
Um,
it's a
you made it
suggestion.
clear it was his opinion.
Yeah.
Which category should I put it under, municipal maintenance?
I put it under municipal maintenance, please.
Yeah, amen.
So this is a special town meeting of number 2. Was that the article number 2? I think was the 600,000.
Yes,
Two.
2, because 1 was the 100 guy for the,
Which doesn't go on this list.
right, that would be capital.
Tom Beacon and I are going to a Holiday Inn Express, and we're gonna get certified as solar experts, will apply for the project.
Very good.
Just write us a check for 50 each.
Do you want to go through this list, or do you want me to just to send you all the funded, but,
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of things like the fleet vehicles that we have. We've received the 2 EVs, which are the
Blazers.
all-electric Blazers. We've received, those were 46,000 each. We received $7,500 rebate on each from the Commonwealth on top of that. And we're putting in for the Inflation Reduction Act, $7,500 for each one from the federal government. Interestingly, we have to get that almost as a Form 990T,
so is that the
which
3?
is, I am not done yet, Sandy. I
I know,
will
that's
lose
why-
my
that's
entire
why-
train of thought.
That's why I put my hand over my mouth, I apologize.
The 990, which we actually, it's almost like you're getting a tax rebate
Yeah,
in
it
the
is.
municipality. It's really a strange and terrible setup. I tried to get it so that the dealership would just take it and take it off, but they can't do it
No,
that
we
way
can't
for
do it
the
that way.
municipalities. So all told, they'll take about 15 grand off, so 31,000 each for the new vehicles, not too bad. The other one we've ordered is a F-150 Lightning. That one's slightly over $51,000.
Like Walters.
Yeah, like Walters. It's the base model of it with a little bit more extended range. That's for when our departments or anything need to move anything around, which they do. Might as well utilize that.
It's got a built-in generator in the back ass end of it too.
So we've got enough to handle that over at with the quad charger out back. And that one will qualify for both those rebates too. The federal one, I'm not counting my chickens on that until we actually get it in. It's a little bit of a process.
Federal stuff's gonna be up and down. The other problem we have to make sure is that they want us to use EV trucks, going forward with a lot of these programs. The problem is the EV trucks are not available.
They're not available. The big
You know,
ones.
you got what's it called, midweight or heavyweight.
Yeah, so
And they're forcing municipalities all over the country supposedly to use these. You can't buy one.
they pushed that out for about a year. It was supposed to be this January. unfortunately, those are our snow and ice vehicles.
Mm.
And we know how electric vehicles do in the cold. Plus, you know, while they're torque monsters, you know, it goes down when you're pushing or pulling pretty quickly. So we worked it out, I think roughly, and each one of those electric vehicles at that weight can be sometimes double to triple the cost of our normal ones at those size. Like with the school buses are almost triple. It almost, then we're trying to figure out the snow and ice fleet. So if you can run an hour, then you're charging or something, and how many vehicles do you need to have to, so it's all, I mean, this is pure back of the napkin math, but it's actually when you go with the funding cost, then it can cost you from, 10, 12 times the cost of one vehicle, because you need to have those other backups, so it's just, it doesn't make sense, and they're using California guidelines, and we saw what happened when California had their cold spell, where I think somebody was shot at one of the charging stations.
Because it took so long.
Yeah, so it's like, we just have to think, I understand the theories and commitments, but you have to, again, like I said, they gotta think beyond the process.
Oh, yeah, also all the flooding in Florida, cars were blowing up all over the place.
So,
We'll,
If you're in a hurricane area, you also have to plan a little bit on that too. So your government is out of business because it's flooded and batteries are blowing up.
yeah, we moved for the emergency management vehicle beforehand, had been that all-electric, the Mach-E, because they got such a good
Mustang.
price. Yeah, it's a Mach-E. We would never call that thing a Mustang.
sorry for
It's
this.
the Mustang heritage.
It's got a horse
But
on
they
it.
start driving.
I saw one, it didn't look like a Mustang.
Yeah, and
No.
driving there during one of the flooding events, they had to drive through the salt water, so they realized that's not going to be a good idea with
It's
this
not for long.
vehicle, so they had to change that up.
Well, look at Cranberry Highway, they just blew up on the shelf.
Yeah.
I mean, that was just small batteries, but still, they just blew up.
There's a lot of small batteries.
Yeah.
So,
All right,
Yeah.
what we'll do also is I'll reach out to GATRA. GATRA's
Well,
converting their buses for our region here to electric buses.
Hmm.
They're pushing out of this area before some other areas they have. They're using the Deacon School. The buses will start showing up there fairly soon. So we'll have some idea how it works for them, see what happens. But
Yeah.
that's not just in the plans, that's definitely happening. Okay, so the open project we had was the piece of property at this point.
that's one that hadn't initially been on the list.
Yeah.
So,
And then you'll give the list of Derek
50
what you
Marion
have.
Road, is that the address?
80.
80.
80 Marion Road.
Yes. Yeah, pretty interesting. We're 54, they're 80.
It's a pretty big jump.
Yeah, so, well, Viking Drive isn't a real road when it comes down.
It's a driveway.
Yeah, so,
Drive,
Yeah.
either way.
So we have a hearing tonight, conservation, on the Cremisa to Viking Drive, on Mass DOT, conservation,
Yeah.
changing it from 4 lanes to 2 lanes.
correct.
With a turning lane in a couple spots.
No, only at intersections,
Yeah.
but not for businesses. But not for businesses. Yeah,
One
I
of
was
the things,
surprised.
as this is going on, one of the things my recommendation is, if we are going to acquire, if that works out, everything's, there still needs to be negotiations, the select board still needs to vote upon it. If that gets done, I'd like to work with MassDOT and a separate engineer to try and figure out locations that we want for curb cuts for any potential uses in the future, so that we don't fall behind on that.
How many are you allowed?
That's a good question. I don't know, because it's really just working with them on it.
Because there's 3 or 4 different lots there.
Correct, yeah, all the property we own the whole way.
Mhm.
And we should probably take a look at, because we want entry points off of Route 6 rather than just
Right.
Viking Drive. So, it doesn't mean you can't change it in the future, but I'd rather have them in there.
Right.
It'd be a lot easier.
It's easier to modify
When
one
they
than
have
just
their
to add
final
them.
plan, for the road, the things are there ahead of time.
And then if we have some excess and superfluous ones, it's probably better to, from negotiating tactic to deleting some, if, you know, in the
Right.
overall.
This project originally was started with New Bedford. Actually, Mattapoisett is the real push, because the Mattapoisett Route 6 road goes like this, and unfortunately, old people don't do well, you know, with 2 lanes, curves with trucks and everything. So that's what started it. Also, 195 became a major highway, Route 6 became no longer a major highway, and Mass DOT 5, in the meetings I attended, decided that they wanted to, they really wanted to basically give Route 6 to the local towns, you know, and that was not a start. But
Wash your hands.
they have had, there's been hearings in Marion about this also. They came down, Mass DOT, and had public hearings. I think we were invited. I know as a select board member, I basically told them to go ahead with the project here. The select board didn't, I don't know if we voted or not at that point, but I know we voted to go ahead and look into this, because this is gonna happen one way or the other. Because the whole idea was from where the bridge is gonna be replaced down over the Wareham.
Mhm.
Off, you know, from there, the Marion Wareham line, all the way down here was gonna be redone anyways. And we have that Swiss Beach light that should have been done already, that we're still dealing with. So we've got 2 actual projects. One is from the bridge to Cremisa, and then from Cremisa to here.
Mhm.
You know, so I think it's gonna happen because, you know, the state wants it.
It's crazy.
Something that would be interesting to look at is having that as expanding even the entry point here, or maybe doing another ingress or egress to this road. To try and leave some of the traffic, specifically maybe having a one-way in entrance and one-way out,
You know,
That makes sense.
you know.
you know, even here coming this way, you may have to have a 3rd lane so they can turn in also.
Yeah, so,
We'll see how it goes.
That
Like I
one's
said,
planned.
so we'll see what happens. You know, this has been percolating for 4 years now. You know, again, the main push has been Mattapoisett in particular. Okay,
You wanna talk about the website?
we'll get to just in a minute. The Springtown meeting article, the bylaw, I've written it, it's done. I have to basically get that approved before we move forward on some other things. Because I spent a lot of time looking at the website, which is item number 7. And the website references many different areas in the website about capital planning, and a lot of it's inaccurate. It will definitely be inaccurate once we make the changes. And it also is inaccurate as far as timeframes, as far as the town administrator goes, as town meeting, etc. So it's not a simple fix the website. It's gonna be a lot of work, because you have to go through every area and change a lot of wording.
Okay, who will do it?
I'll finish it. I started, I'll finish it.
so the thought is do 2 phases, do the initial update to have it correct to today's standards, if you will, to what we
Yeah.
have. And then the second one is if town meeting approves the changes, they'll make an update them.
Then I'll go ahead and have Matt allow me to come into the website and correct it all. I mean, I'm not exaggerating. I started it and then I kept going, because there's different areas in capital planning on the town website, and it refers to other, and it's convoluted. It's
Yeah.
never been updated because nobody's had the time to do it.
So will there be 1 article for the spring or 2?
I'm trying to do one, because it's really not a confrontation article.
Means you'll be doing zoning, you'll be doing charter and
I'll have to,
bylaw at the same time?
I'll have to ask Rich Bowen, the town council, whether or not, because one
Oh, I
of the,
thought you had.
yeah, but I want to make sure, because one would be a special act if it's charter, and the other
Okay.
one is just a bylaw change. It's 2 different things. We could vote that way, but it has to be written as such. It's not straightforward.
So if this were just a bylaw change, it would be separate than what the bylaw review committee's doing?
Yes,
Okay, but we probably would want a recommendation from
Have
them.
their input.
they can read it. I mean, it's really straightforward. It's just us updating the dollar amounts and everything else.
Yeah,
Yeah, but they should be part of it. at
Yeah,
least.
yeah, I don't think it'd be bad to get their, you know.
have a joint meeting.
I'll
Yeah,
basically forward them, you know, what the bylaw, because it's already written, and just have them look at it. It's not a big deal. It has to do with dollar amounts.
And make any suggestions
So
they may
we
have.
will request their acceptance
We'll
or approval?
request their recommendation. Because the article will be submitted, you know, at our request through the town administrator, most likely, that's how it's gonna go.
No, you guys actually by right, if you vote on it, or not you, I'm part of it too. If we vote on it, it goes on the warrant.
Yep.
So I think it'd be inserted by the select board at the request of the capital
So,
planning.
or the town administrator. I'll get you in trouble if you want.
I technically can't put anything on the
I know you can't, let's give you that. Okay,
Judy makes a mistake all the time, so.
it's okay. So we have no updates to the 5-year plan for the new.
Yeah, the 600,000.
Just the
We already talked about
$600,000.
that.
I know, but
Yes.
you said no more, never mind.
It's 4.
And then what we'll do is, Sandy's going to just make sure we're on the same page.
Yes.
So page stating the comprehensive list and what's outstanding. Those I know about, I'll give a quick blurb. And like I said before, I think it'd be good if we could, especially on some of the bigger ticket items, have some pictures back or something like that. And then typically when we would try not to expend everything out of an article, so we just basically delete the article at the end of it and return the funds. It would be nice for people to know what actually came in, because it's, you know, there's a couple times where, like on some of the school roof, the estimate was very, very high. And those should be all done, so I'd like to hear the final on that.
I think it's important for the, just for public relations, what goes on. People think we just throw money away all the time and don't care.
We had spring '23, we had 3.2 million. And then in special spring '24, we had another $1 million for the school roof.
Yeah.
Is the school roof done?
Yeah, so if you remember, the $1 million for the school roof was phase one.
Mm-hmm,
We initially had that as borrowing.
mm-hmm,
Rather than going through and paying for the borrowing costs, et cetera, we had because it's not just the interest rate when it comes down to borrowing costs. It costs us between $15,000 and $20,000 to bond things out. So that's why when you see us doing bonds, we try and pair a lot of things together. You know, so that one, we had the $1 million, the available funds, so we did that out of free cash so we could pay for that. That was phase one, the one that was not approved for MSBA reimbursement.
Yeah.
Phase two does have MSBA reimbursement. I believe they've done it, but they're in their auditing stage now. I mean, I think we just got our final audit on the new school building, the new elementary school as well, so that could take a little bit. But I know the numbers came in much more favorable than they originally thought. They've also completed the boilers at the high school. I think they've completed the first part of the alarm system as well,
Yeah, that makes sense.
so.
wow, I didn't have anything on the list for those.
Yeah, those are those are a while ago.
So we
yeah.
already removed them.
Yeah, probably already removed them.
So I'll leave the roofs on there or not?
Yeah, leave the roof, let's get the input from them. We
Okay.
know they're completed by construction completed, right?
You talking about boilers or?
No, the roof.
The roof.
Yeah, no, so we've already paid for phase one, we can probably take the $1 million out, that's done, right?
Okay.
Phase two, we still would need MSBA reimbursements and such. We have the authority to borrow the full amount, but you obviously don't wanna, you can't permanently borrow the full amount if you're going to get reimbursed, that'd be arbitrage, so,
All right, so I'll remove that $1 million one.
yes, please.
Confusion on the alarm.
Yeah,
You said you started, and you said we took it off.
well, they only wanted a certain amount for the alarm, but I know in the future they're gonna need to replace the heads and stuff like that, but the alarms, they're done. That was the phase one of the alarm system.
It's done.
Yeah, that's done at the
Okay.
high school. So, but I think they want it where you can, something about being able to tell section by section, but that would require.
Addressable.
Yeah, the addressable, that would require full
Yeah.
rewiring, which is
So
a
they put
different
a new
project.
panel that's
Right.
compatible with
Correct.
addressable, but now they may have to change some of the detectors to have an address to report to
Yeah,
the
they
panel.
will. They
See,
will
he's
have
not
to.
just a pretty face. He does
Yeah.
answer.
Well, I work on a few of them.
But yeah, it sort of makes sense. That's why I'm talking about almost, they didn't request a second phase, but there will be at some point, I imagine, a second phase.
Okay.
Yep.
Anything else? Okay, number 9, you're on. To say hello, who you are.
Hello, Kerry Pastor. I live down on Glen Ave on Hamilton Beach. I've been back here now, I think, for the last 18 years. And I was asked if I would join a couple committees and
Just considering.
They didn't like you, the people that were asking?
I have background as the chief executive officer for a $6 billion company, both in the UK and over here in the US. I would like to get involved and talk to you later about your EV vehicles. I do a lot of consult work with PE and VC companies across the country and in the UK regarding VCs, and talk about grids and how you sell your electricity back to the mainframe, so to speak, and how you receive money for that. So get into that, but my business background is in the transport world, both in busing and public transport. I ran 65,000 school buses in North America, 35,000 public transport buses, and our small business was Greyhound for 4,000. So that's what
You're gonna be a big part of this because we've run out of the buses that we were basically cannibalizing to keep things going.
I had many conversations back in my younger days, coming back down here, with your former superintendent, people about privatizing the system.
Yeah.
All right, and I helped him assist in getting the costs for the buses that you
Yeah.
purchased back then.
Was that Barry?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, that's born, raised, educated here in the South Shore, Abington High School, Bridgeton Academy, UMass Amherst, Eisenberg School, Northeastern MBA. She up there in it? She up there in Eisenberg now?
She graduated.
Very good.
Yeah.
So you were a football player if you went to Bridgeton?
Yes, yes, I played at Abington, played at UMass for a couple of years until I was injured,
Okay.
and my
He
father
used to be
actually,
6'4".
yeah. My father was my coach, he's still alive. He's 102 the other day, and
Awesome.
I coached in high school, then he went on to be a scout with the Patriots for 25 years.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so he comes from a very, very intelligent background, and watching football games on TV. You can learn a lot in one day with him.
I bet.
That's it. Yeah.
Anybody have any questions?
And he's just been recently appointed a member of the conservation, of the sewer commissioners,
Yes, I was.
so he stepped up.
So you're
Get
a
into it.
free committee now?
Stepped into it, you mean?
I'll be on, yes, the conservation here, if approved, and the golf course, and I'm also the president of the Hamilton Beach Association. That's how I got to meet Sandy back many years ago, as I appeared before the conservation for certain things on the beachfront. So,
Yeah, moving the sand back and forth, it sure does migrate on you guys.
yeah.
So my question is the Titanic one. If you're steering towards the iceberg, are you gonna turn before, or wait for the authority to turn? So
Yeah. I just think it's interesting to talk about. I mean, all my work's been done in what I call the private field versus the public sector, and understanding how you budget and what you run up against in your SOPs for understanding who gets what and how you divvy out the money to the
Yeah.
department heads. So I'd be happy to help and assist.
Yeah, it's, the electrical stuff with the grids is really it's a difficult situation. I remember when we first got involved, I think Kara Winslow was supposed to be leading the select board on the buying energy and stuff, and somehow or another, they ended up asking me to help her. And we asked the town accountant at the time how much we were using, because the state, I think, limited it to 10 megawatts that you could buy in this program that they have for credits.
Grants back then?
Yeah, it wasn't grant, it was just credits you could get, you know, and the bottom line was, he said we're using at least 8. So there was a company called Sage Power in Plymouth, up over the Wareham line, was doing a project. So I negotiated for 20 to 25% discount on the credits. You know, that's what would make, you know, saving money. And I remember when I did it, Derek came back a little bit later on and found out our town accountant, we won't say names or anything because they're not around, misinformation, we were using just barely 6, and we bought 6. So the end result was, we were originally thought we'd put some solar fields over by Water Pollution Control Facility land, and, you know, and have more. Problem is, we can't, because we're already at our limit of what we have credits to use. As it was, I was afraid we weren't gonna make the 6, and we'd be paying for credits that we couldn't use, because at that time, nobody was willing to step and buy them just in case.
So, yeah, so it's
That was
no
a hard
problem,
time.
no problem putting the fields up, we just can't take the energy, so they don't get as many bips on it, so it
You
makes it.
can't, I don't know what you mean by can't take the energy.
We can't take the energy on because of our utilization. We're already at 100% basically from the other solar field that we're, so, you know, I'm sure there's times when that solar field, if there's snow on it or something, we're not utilizing
Mhm.
100%, we're not getting that back in. And the only unfortunate thing was, trying to figure out which, was the National Grid on there? That was a complete nightmare. We wanted
It
it
was
back.
National Grid.
We wanted it reduced so that we could reduce our budgets, because that was more important, you know,
Right.
trying to keep so we can keep the funding going, but it just basically becomes a credit at the end, so we basically get after we send in the money, we're basically getting checks back, so we do at the end of the year, that surplus becomes free cash, which isn't bad, we utilize that for purchasing capital and things like that, but it's ultimately the budget, having tight budgets, you wanted a reduction there, would have been more of a better feeling.
Everything we do to save energy, whether it's lighting or anything, works against us, which is really foolish, because the idea is, that's what you wanna do, but because of the system that we signed in for, which we thought was a good idea, it doesn't work for us. I don't, we constantly get people saying,
We're
why
off
don't you do this,
topic.
why don't you do that?
We're off topic.
I just want people to understand what's going on, that's all. So, potential member understands why we have those issues. Okay, anybody have any questions? I'll take a motion to approve, Mr. Pastor to become a member of the capital.
I make a
Planning
motion, we recommend Carrie Pastor as a member of at-large for the capital planning.
I'll second it.
Committee. Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. So, 5-0-0.
I thought he said nay for a minute.
He did. He said something under his breath, I'm not sure what it was.
And this will go to the moderator, Judy, and you, Alan?
No, actually, the finance committee chair for capital planning, we don't, that's how it works.
Who's the appointing authority for Canada?
Capital planning, because it's
Who's the appointing authority, Alan?
the appointing authority is the moderator, the chair of the chair of the select board, and the chair of the finance committee.
Okay.
Because capital planning is definitely an offshoot of the finance committee. We're a legislative committee, we're not a executive committee.
FinCom, BOS, and the moderator.
Yes. So we'll send that request off to the moderator. She has to schedule it.
And I'm assuming you've already done the training that's required of joining the water pollution control, so you could get sworn in.
Yes,
So,
It should be done.
Yes.
Should be done.
yeah, so that should be all set. Then.
Well, as far as getting sworn in, what I asked them when I was sworn in for the commission, the sewer, they said, no, we can't do 2 at the same time. So you have to come back here once you're
Right.
approved, et cetera. So I don't know how I get notified.
You can't do what at the same time?
Get sworn in twice.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
I thought we
you
could.
can get sworn in.
Yeah.
but-
Yeah.
I've been wondering-
Only for-
Multiple times.
Only for one position at a time. I said,
Yeah.
can't you have a
I didn't,
all encompassing?
they did 3 for me once,
Yeah.
Yeah,
at the same time.
Yeah.
The appointing authority will notify you that they're gonna have a hearing for your appointment. So you can come in or whatever, it may not be necessary. Once they vote yes, then you'll be notified to come in, and simple as that, usually.
And on this committee, there are how many members?
Supposed to be 7.
Supposed to be 7.
And you make 7.
I make
Yeah.
7.
We are missing John Foster right now.
Yeah, and what will happen is when we do the layout, we're also gonna have the town account as a ex officio non-voting member, because under Mass General Law, it actually specifies.
We've been talking about that for a while.
And the term,
That's part of it.
and the term at large was referenced, and so I would assume there are Other,
Anybody in the public that's a resident of Wareham.
okay. It's not geographical or sectional or?
Not on this type of thing,
Okay.
no. There are certain things you have.
Nor
to
about
do.
your stature, so.
Yeah. Water pollution control facilities, whether you're on sewer or not on sewer, things like that.
All right.
But we really don't break out of in Wareham by district or
Alright.
precinct. Okay, anything unanticipated before I Alice from anybody?
I just have two questions. Are we gonna tear the house down?
Not immediately, I don't have the funds for that, so we'll take a look at part of the money of the 600K would be just to button up, make it secure. I'm thinking I've already had, somebody walk through it, so the garage I know is in decent shape. I'm also thinking about if it gets approved, again, we still have to go through the select board, all these things,
Yeah.
that isn't automatic, so, but we also have two other sheds on the other side of that building that I think it would make much more sense to have them on there and use that for some of the storage equipment that, you know, can,
Those two sheds on the other side of multi-service,
yeah.
one is the garden clubs.
Yeah, wouldn't it be better to have some over there, so it's not looking like heck? I know you don't care.
I'm
but
s- I
got
don't-
no pride.
I don't know who the other one belongs to.
I don't, I think it's a school has some of their stuff in there, so.
I'm sure they do.
I'm not sure the building would survive a movie.
Yeah, maybe that's a good thing.
And the negative part of that?
Yeah, so that's again, but to be, you know, not to joke around, but that's the type of thing, I'll have Dave take a look at it too, and he'll say, my God, if you move that an inch, it's gonna disintegrate. Or if he says, hey, we'll just grab one of the machines, put it on the forks and get it right over
The
there.
floor barely supports the weight that's in it.
Yeah.
Another question. Maura Healy announced today's $8 billion investment in infrastructure.
Correct.
Is there an application process for that? We have a couple projects we could use that, like the dam.
You're asking, she just alerted everybody today. And so you're asking about the application process, right? Part of the $8 billion, a majority of it was into the
MBTA.
MBTA.
That's what I
$100 million was to the streets, so moving that from 200 to 300 for what we get for basically our aid for Chapter 90 funds. And as to, there's going to be a small bridge program and other couple ones. And what's going to happen is they'll make the announcement today, whatever will go through, and then they'll start telling you the process of how you have to apply for what it's going to be.
Yeah, when I heard about it, I thought about the bridges and
Yeah.
the dam.
Yeah, the small bridges, you know, we've been requested to, the main thing for the Elm Street one is more about Mass Dot with the
Right.
scouring that's done on the other locations.
Yeah, we have a
So,
little issue there.
yeah.
There's a project coming up to repair the bridge on Faring Hill.
Fearing
That would be
Hill's
part of
gonna-
it?
Fearing Hill is a massive expense, which is.
But
one
Ferry Hill was
foot-
just done, wasn't it?
No.
No.
It's about 1 foot too long on one side at 21.5 feet to be 20 feet or under. And I'm not joking about that. It does not qualify because of that. And we're trying to claim that's not part of the structure, but,
Can we cut it back a little?
you know.
Shrink it.
God,
That's gonna be a major project. That's 5-6 million all day long, so.
You have to understand the MBTA budget for 26-27 is $1 billion underwater.
always is.
No,
It's been
it's-
that way
It's
forever.
never been this high.
Not that high maybe, but it's always.
This year is
under budget.
750 million.
So, but the one downside to that is the money, most of it's coming from the fair share. Fair share came in, you know, about almost $2 billion more than they had thought.
Yeah.
However, that was supposed to be a big part of solving our educational issues and putting more money into the schools. The fair share money that they put into schools, which I think was an initial $250 million, went to universal free meals, lunches, all right, which is great. You know, there's, only problem is we already qualified for that. It benefited this town in no way, shape. We already qualified for that. So again, there's other communities, wealthy communities that do have kids in need, and that's a good thing for them. However, it put us, in a way, it put us further back from equalizing us with the other wealthier communities. So that's one of the things I thought was a shame. It should have been paying for that and then giving a distribution of what the cost would actually be, since we all had qualified, give us a little extra aid on that amount, so.
To add a piece which is not, I'll do it on the funny, and it's just for Sam for your question. The state has had several bills sitting over the last 2 years about infrastructure for municipalities, such as public safety, et cetera. I requested from our new state senator, Ms. Dormer, that I would appreciate if she would start to pull an article or bill to start pushing that through, as because we will need some money for it. And I've asked it, the program is supposed to be very much like the MSBA program, where you can receive up to 70% of the cost of the infrastructure you want to do. So I will keep after that. The town will obviously push for that as well. So as a newly elected official, you know, she's asking for things that people need, so we requested that, just so you know. I don't know where.
Senator Dooner?
Yeah, you know, and she's already answered me back that she's working on it.
It's interesting to see her at,
She said she was coming to town meeting.
Yeah, she went to Monday's
Yeah,
town
she
meeting.
went there to greet everybody.
Okay.
I was the
Sam,
only
any-
selectman that supported her, by the way.
Anything?
I'm done.
All right.
Everybody set?
Yep.
Motion
Next
to
meeting?
adjourn?
No, next meeting.
Next meeting?
Sometime in February, if we need it. You wanna do late February, in case you have department heads come in?
Yeah, I would do late February from the, school breaks, the 20th to 24th, that area, excuse me, not 24th.
26th?
Yeah, excuse me, it's the 17th through 21st, I was on the wrong month.
You wanna go just before that, or just after?
But are we
I'd go
bringing the
just
school
after.
before us?
26th?
What-
Yeah.
We're not bringing the school, we're asking sewer
We
only.
should bring, well, you talked about the four of them, but what I'm thinking is, we should bring the school in, because they're going to be asking for funds at Springtown meeting to rehab the McDuffie Annex.
Yeah.
Rather than taking that back over from, not Turning Point.
Turning point.
And they wanna utilize that, and there will be funds, and there will be a substantial cost to getting that up and running, and they're gonna need it in the spring.
That's
but-
They're gonna make an alternative school out of it?
Yeah.
That's the
that's
alternative
right.
school.
Which I
They,
think
they
is,
had before, then
Yeah,
they.
same deal.
you know, and I'm sure there's some things they could get away with, but there's, you might as well, when it's open like that, before you get in there, it's always easier and more cost effective
Oh, yeah.
to do it at that time, so I'd rather get the funds and put it together.
Yep.
I know that the handicap ramp itself is spongy.
Problematic, yeah.
So,
Yeah, our history with the school in the last couple of years has been, always seems to be last minute things they need and they come before us, so it'd be a good thing.
So what's the date?
It's either the 12th or
The
the 26th.
26th,
think
26th.
it makes more
Twenty-
sense.
1 o'clock,
1 o'clock.
26th.
26th.
Yeah, and
Wednesday,
that
the
could give
26th.
potentially the appointing authority time to put you on there, if they so choose, maybe. Maybe they don't like you.
We'll never know.
Give each one of them a dollar.
Yeah.
So we'll look at school and sewer.
Yeah.
School and sewer, I don't think we have police or anything, but we might as well, if we wanna bring in police and municipal
Yeah.
maintenance. just
See if
go-
they have anything they wanna
Yeah.
discuss,
Yeah,
update.
so, yeah, or just go over it and.
Yeah, like municipal maintenance, they change the type of vehicles they're asking for as well because of supply, demand and everything else that's going on.
Yeah.
I am interested to see whether, in a determination, I may be leaning more towards rolling over much more free cash than we typically do. We typically do around 1 to 1.5 million, so seeding for the next year. But, you know, I'd like to, my financial plans I'd like to make once I see what we're getting from the Commonwealth, from state aid, from the first round, from the governor's budget. You know,
Yeah.
and that's going to change our direction.
After Monday, there's not a lot left, is there?
No, well, there's always a couple little things on there that you could look at. I'm going to double check what we've done for funding a few things. Might try and set aside a little more money with the new emergency management director. Might want to put another 100,000 aside for emergencies in the future. I'm trying to bring
Who's the
that.
new?
It's Caleb LaRue from Wareham Police. So, it's done an excellent job. I already have a plan on my desk. It's
Well,
there's some of those people where you
give you something and they run with it.
yeah, and they actually do it. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
I think it's important that we stay on the conservative side as far as expense, because the year that we're in now, the projections, everybody's kind of wonky is the best word to use. They're not really sure what's gonna happen, what's gonna be available, et cetera. Massachusetts being a sanctuary state is, let's say they've basically almost blown all the money that Baker
Well,
put
they're
aside.
bleeding money.
Well, they can't afford to go forward with the program they have anymore. But it affects everybody, because we use the word clawbacks, but, you know, we're just, what that means basically is you have a program that's been established and okay, but if you haven't spent it yet, the governor has the ability to take the money back or take it away. And that's slowly, that's been happening. So it's very difficult for Mr. Sullivan to really have a budget plan where we don't know what's gonna happen with some of the grants and programs as well. Okay, with that, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
It doesn't matter.
So moved.
Yeah, the
Oh,
question.
I'm sorry.
I just-
Question?
May I ask a question, just in reference to the capital planning, on average macro question type, how much money is spent in capital planning and what percentage that is of total revenue, tax base, grant base, et cetera?
We don't base it off of the town's revenue, or
Okay.
I think we actually have almost zero within our operating budget when it comes down to it. You have about 150,000 annually in your operating budget. That's probably going to have to go up about 25,000 with the. So the rest of it, what we do is we utilize certified free cash. And whatever you have for free cash outside of money, we put aside for stabilization fund,
Right.
other post-employment benefits, rollover, potential snow and ice deficit.
Right.
That is our capital money.
Yeah.
So that's which, it is a crazy way to live, but it's the only one that's kept our budget, to be able to keep on providing services to the community.
Excuse me, can you send him the current budget?
Well, I'm gonna send everybody the 5-year plan when I update it. And I'm gonna send everybody the snapshot of those that have been funded to see if they've been completed. So I have those two coming out, and I just have a note to send him the article from fall town meeting that shows how our free cash was used.
Cool.
Do you want me to send a request to the planning authority, or you want to say?
Chair,
Okay.
I
Motion
guess
to
that
adjourn.
answers that one.
Second.
All in favor?
Fine.
Aye, aye, aye.
153.